Just a lot of trial and error just on my own. And when I got my own computer, the first one got a virus on there. When I went to try to go get it fixed, it was just an outrageous amount of money. So I just started learning on my own, and eventually I caught on. There's got to be a way where you can do it on your own.
Alfredo is the kind of guy who would rather fix it himself instead of paying someone to do it for him.
There you go. This is power supply. It just came out. That's what I do. It's my hobby.
Another hobby Alfredo has gotten better at over the last decade is protesting his property tax every year. And that's why we're meeting in the first place. He says it's a puzzling frustration he doesn't look forward to. His spring appraisal notice.
And I'm seeing here in 2016, this home was valued at 77,000. Now it's going up to 130. In the last 8 years. And I don't see why. The biggest jump was around 2014 and 2013. They went up about $20,000 or so.
He's lived in this 3-bedroom, 1-bath home in Bloomington for the last 14 years and says it's been a good home for his family.
This house, Hurricane Harvey came, nothing happened to it. It's built from the old days.
He tells me the only change about the house is the wheelchair ramp he added in 2020, so he's confused every year to see his property tax climbing. And like I mentioned earlier, he likes to fix things himself. So he did some research and learned that Texas state law allows property owners to protest their tax valuation as long as they do so within 30 days after the valuation is sent. He protested 2 years in a row with no luck.
What did they say the first year that you went?
I just showed them the pictures that I had, and basically they just didn't want to hear it. They're adamant on their values they're gonna put in the story.
And so he did something he rarely does. He hired someone to fix the problem for him. And that's where Kinsey enters the puzzle.
Kinsey, thanks for meeting with me. What is your official title?
Senior property tax consultant.
When Alfredo gave up trying to fight on his own, he hired Kinsey's family firm based in Victoria. She tells me she understands why property owners like Alfredo are frustrated when their loan protests fail.
I do find it to be intimidating, even as a professional, but I know the data to look for to help substantiate and provide that evidence.
It's Kinsey's opinion that Texas property owners protest their valuation every year.
Because there's no harm to the taxpayer in filing that protest. The worst thing that's going to happen is you will find information that substantiates your valuation.
After submitting a notice of protest form, followed by a hearing where Alfredo and Kinsey presented their evidence to Victoria County's Appraisal Review Board, they were able to get his 2024 valuation to drop more than $30,000.
What I observed in Bloomington and Placido specifically is these really drastic increases. So they were seeing tripled values over the last few years. They were seeing all of these values that as I kind of dug into them, it didn't make sense based on the data that we observed.
Kinsey says to successfully have your property value lowered, there needs to be proof it was overvalued. Property owners must make a cohesive and effective argument for why they feel wronged.
In my experience, there are a lot of people who demonize appraisal districts, and there are certain circumstances where I've considered that to be warranted in some instances, but a lot of times these are good people who are doing their jobs to the best of their ability with the best information they have. Sometimes they get it right and sometimes they get it wrong.
Alfredo isn't a pro yet, but he says he's getting better at figuring out his property tax puzzle. He encourages those in his situation to not be intimidated and protest if needed.
You can't stand still. You have to fight, and you have the right to protest. Document everything, take pictures of what you have, and just do what you can. If you don't get anywhere, you can always hire somebody that knows what to do and how to do it.
Reporting in Victoria County, I'm Lupe Zapata for KAVU TV 25 News Now.